goes well, they'll announce next week that we're open, I think. If it doesn't, then. Yeah, it's nice. You been in there? It's really nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, all weather, kind of, summer, winter, it's all kind of control now. But of course, it doesn't get hot and it doesn't get cold. So that's all. Took out the step up hoops and stuff. It's all. Those are kind of popular, for especially for older people. Slide.
That's good when we all started.
Yeah. Right.
It's become a problem for us.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, I guess. Before we start the meeting, let's stand for the pledge and the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. God, we're so grateful to be able to be in this nice community. We ask that you give us wisdom as we make choices that will help the community. In your name, amen.
Amen. So I call the May meeting of the Parks and Recreation Board to order, or as I would like to call it, the immediate pre-Fat and Skinny meeting. Since Fat and Skinny is this weekend.
I appreciate the plug.
First item on the agenda is a review of the minutes from the 18th. I think they're in our packet. Open for discussion and motions on that issue.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Any further discussion? All those opposed, or all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
Were you trying to lead this conversation?
It's going to be a quick meeting if I start with skipping all the approvals. Next item on the agenda is Triad. John, thank you so much for coming in person. I see papers in front of us. I am so excited.
Good afternoon. I wanted to get you guys something to look at, touch, feel, mark up, chew up, comment on. As you sift through these drawings, please note the alignment is on, as we've talked about all along, is on the south side of the right-of-way. I'm hoping to have better drawings to you for your next meeting, to the point where we're really close to going out to meet with the landowners, have that meeting at the Crazy Egg, talk about any issues, and then your July meeting where we should be at the bidding point. So, be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Two questions. The first one, I saw a bunch of flags. I went out there this morning. A bunch of flags. Are those related to this?
All utility locates. We had to
Okay.
locate all the utilities, see where our conflicts are. So part of the delay was NIPSCO getting there and locating their utilities. We had to wait on them, which I believe all the utilities are located right now. We just got these drawings this week from the surveyor, so we haven't been able to lay in the topo and the profiles on the bottom. You'll actually see the alignment of the trail related to the surface contours in the profile, if that makes sense to you. If you've seen, I don't know if you guys have seen plans and profiles before.
So it's like a topo map.
I don't want to assume. It'll be just a
Yeah.
profile of the
The
grades.
second part of it was, at least on page 3 of the drawings, it looks like the trail goes past Crazy Eggs. Is that accurate?
That's something I wanted to talk to you guys about, as to where do you see that trail ending? I personally would input my opinion of, let's take it to Crazy Egg and dive it in right at their first driveway, knowing that in the future, we can always extend it. My problem with extending it now is you're sending people out there to what?
A dead end.
They're gonna have to turn around and come back, because there won't be a trail. So my thought is, if we get it across their, either to their drive and turn it into their property, get it across their first drive and turn it into the property, that's what I'd recommend. But again, I'd like to have your opinion of
How much further is it to the next county road? It might be a bit, but,
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look
because
at
I don't know if
drawings.
that could necessarily fit within the budget to take it out at least to the
It's,
next county
well, it
road.
was beyond our scope
Right.
of ending it at 0.8 miles, so. All good food for thought. We can kick it around.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no,
Yeah.
I'm not, just,
Well, yeah, just when we had earlier talked about this, I think it turned into that 0.8 miles versus what can you do for that budget dollar that we have up to, as far as we could go. So, if we're at the budget at the 0.8, then that's where we're at. But I guess it's just an open question if there were still in the bidding process or whatever, monies available to get us out to the next crossroads within the ARPA allocation, then we should take advantage of that.
understood.
So John, in that same regard, an issue that county surveyor Mike Kissinger is looking into for me is how the railroad and the Old 30 right-of-way interact down through the next stretch, because there's not a ton of space. And we've had at least one person say, I'm not sure how that works, so we're trying to look into that on our own. But if I know you guys did some preliminary work along there, that is certainly a question that is
Until we
rising
get
up.
it surveyed to know exactly where those right-of-ways are, it's gonna be hard to know at this point.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to raise is I don't think that we intend for Crazy Egg to be a trailhead for us. So I think we need to be careful about how much we terminate at their parking lot unless they were to come back and say, we're happy with that, which I have an inkling that they would not be happy with that. They certainly want their parking lots for their customers, that we need to make sure whatever we do, that more than likely the Chenworth parking lot is the trailhead, at least in that general area.
Sure.
So I don't know how that looks like in terms of how we do this, but
That-
I think we need to keep that in mind.
Sure, and one of the things I wanted to ask you is last meeting, I thought you had mentioned you knew somebody with Crazy Egg, and we're gonna talk to them about our little meeting.
Yeah, I will follow up on that. I had a meeting with Commissioner Groniger this morning, and I can talk further with him about
So
that.
it's is it his family that owns that?
No, there's another family that owns that, but Ron Truex, who used to be a county commissioner, is one of their higher-ups. So that is
Okay.
our contact.
Do you need me to be part of that? Because I'm willing to if,
Let me staff that with Commissioner Groniger, because he's taking the lead on that particular entity.
I also have a question, kind of appreciate all this. In the second page, you talk about a typical cross-section. I just want to be cautious that
it's on
we're,
page 2.
yep, that, I want to make sure we're very comfortable with the widths that we're agreeing to and understanding all that. I don't want necessarily it just to automatically evolve to this without us fully understanding what the recommended widths are. And I'm just wondering, like with the other group doing the broader greenway and trail plan, this might be the right width, don't get me wrong, but just as we think about consistency in the entire trail system, want to probably get that input
Sure.
as well. Before, I guess, and it would be important before any kind of bidding for
Sure.
construction, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, right now I think we have it at
8 foot.
8 feet.
And what's the basis for that?
It's typical.
And that's fine. Hey, Craig, do you happen to know the Heritage Trail width, like through the?
12.
That's 12 through the trails, yeah, so,
And all the way out to Christ Covenant, is that 12 as well?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
yeah.
And if there are any walkers and bikers, I mean, right now, it gets to be tangled. Well, even at 12 feet, it's just it's a.
Yeah, I worry 8 is actually
Yeah.
probably
You
too
don't wanna
narrow.
do Any less than 12 on a shared path. It
Yeah.
just really gets, the more you build it out, because you can't widen it then, it's, yeah, I mean, it's a lot tougher, but
Right.
fortunately for Warsaw and Lake, when we built that, we did 12 feet, and, like Matt says, it's not enough sometimes.
Is that in road right of way or an easement?
It's,
Mix, right?
You mix.
little of both, I guess, but the original trail wasn't actually, dedicated. There wasn't a side path along the roadway, but we have done that out on, 250 and Pearson Road. I think those are, I want to say those are around 9 and
because of limited usable
Yeah,
space.
and that space there, but the original, and we try to always do, if we have a space and it's, we go to the 12 feet.
Hey, Craig, I rode down out to, I walked out to Christ Covenant last night, and I saw you guys have some pops coming up of plants. Do you know what the base was down through there? No? Okay.
We can certainly look at going wider. You gotta keep in mind, we've gotta reestablish the ditch. We got an edge of pavement, a shoulder. We have to reestablish a ditch before we get to the trail, and we have a right-of-way line. So I'm not sure if 12 will work.
Yeah. and
Especially by
that's-
the pond where where you start
Well, the
off
pond,
at.
we're gonna do a retaining wall and recapture some of that property, and I think the plan right now, don't hold me to this, but the thought was to put some gabion baskets in. Are you familiar with the wire baskets with rock?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
okay.
And just stack those in there to create a wall, and then backfill and have our trail
Okay.
next to that.
Well, on the width, I can understand if there's limitations keeping us at 8, but I just want to keep the conversation open that the preference would be wider
Sure.
unless we're
If we
limited
can squeeze
otherwise.
10, that's
Yeah.
better than 8.
Because even 8, you know, that's going to be a straight trail. You get a couple bikers going about 20 miles per hour each way, and then 8's going to be pretty tight. So,
Yeah.
and 2 people take up the width of 8 space walking very easily.
Especially with modern e-bikes who are going to be throttling at
Yeah,
18.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you.
No, this looks great. Any other questions, concerns? I know sir, if you want to comment now while John's up here, I know we talked beforehand,
I think I'll have questions later, and it sounds like there'll be opportunity for the neighbors
and I'll be happy to let you peruse this.
to look at.
Okay.
I've got a spreadsheet of all the addresses, property owners, mailing addresses. We're ready to send notices for the meeting.
Okay.
At the Crazy Egg, whenever we get that coordinated with you.
Okay.
And then we'll
Like
keep
it's
working on the profiles, and we're gonna add a driveway detail. It's a standard county driveway detail with culvert. We're gonna asphalt all driveways because we're tearing up the old pipe and putting in a new pipe.
Right.
So that whole, from right of way to edge of pavement is gonna be redone.
Right.
For
Yeah,
better.
I like that. I think that's a benefit for the
Yep.
homeowners.
Yesterday, I was able to get a poll number, and I'm getting into the weeds, sorry, guys. But just to demonstrate, we're working on it. Yesterday, I was on the phone with NIPSCO. I have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday with them out there for the guy wire that comes down into the right of way. So
Okay.
I talked to Steve yesterday, and he seemed to indicate that there shouldn't be any additional costs for that guy wire to be relocated, but we'll see.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
John.
you.
One question. So you mentioned earlier that we wanted to try to have this out for bids probably in July, and I know that we're having some discussion about the width and things like that. When do you think that we'll have some indication as to, you know, what that really looks like ahead of?
As far as the width,
Yeah, yeah.
well, I'm hoping to have updated drawings in front of you by the next meeting to the
Okay.
point where we can then go and meet with property owners.
Okay.
So I don't really want it to go out to bid until we've had that meeting with the property owners. So if anything
Absolutely.
changes, we're not doing things 2-3 times.
Right.
Yeah, so we're looking at, that would be June and then July. So July, August-ish, we should be able to look.
By
at that.
August, I think we're going to be awarding a bid.
Okay, perfect.
Is there? Open question, could complicate things. Is there any scenario with that railroad right-of-way that would, when we extend the trail all the way out to the county line, that we would need to go to the north side of Old 30?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to get any cheaper.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to minimize crossovers of the trail across Old 30. So just an open question.
Yeah, just speed limits are critical with crossings.
Yeah.
If we
yeah.
can get, obviously Atwood is a perfect place for a crossing to get to the north side.
Mm-hmm.
Between Chinworth Bridge and Atwood,
Right. And I guess
don't-
that's what I'm thinking
I
about.
wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, it doesn't concern me in like an Atwood or an Etna Green versus like somewhere between Creighton Brothers and Atwood.
When I last met with the surveyor, they showed me, they had some right-of-way issues with what they found in the fields not lining up with record information as far as monuments. So they're trying to figure that out, and I keep hitting this, I'm sorry. I asked him to, well, let's pan further west and see, because I wanted to see that right-of-ways, how they touched, and when you get to that point just west of where we're ending, the right-of-way goes, there's from two separate right-of-ways to one big right-of-way. So there's no line between the railroad and.
And that was the concern that was brought to my
Yeah.
attention, is where do
So-
those match?
I think there's gonna be a lot of historical research for the right-of-way to determine, to make sure we stay in Old 30 and not get in the railroad right-of-way. So if there's room, we're gonna stay in the right-of-way. If there's not enough room because of
We won't have
whatever,
any choice.
we won't have a choice. We'll have to somehow cross over.
Okay. Any other questions for John? Well, we appreciate you making the
Thank
trip
you.
here. Katie, I think you're up.
Excellent. Hello.
Hello.
So I have a couple of updates. And after today, if it's helpful for me to kind of type this up and share it, please let me know. I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to overwhelm you with attachments either. The master plan process, we had our second steering committee meeting on May 1st. During that time, we walked through the first round of refinements to the countywide kind of the land-based trail routes. Overall, I think all of that was well received. We got a few refinements and kind of additions to look at in multiple areas, but largely they're all kind of just kind of minor cleanups. I think overall things were received well. So we're working on cleaning that up. I wanted to give you all the chance to look at that as well. So I posted like the meeting packet along with the map and the summary of the steering committee on the website. And I also understand that you have a Dropbox file for your own records. So if you like, I can send maybe Rob to you to post that in there for you to look at. But I wanted to kind of give you the chance to review on your own as well and send us comments as we work to clean that up and do some field work to kind of verify conditions and double check some challenges we know exist, and we just want to kind of inventory those routes to be able to move forward. Our web tools are still being used. They're getting shared by a few different people. I just looked at the tally today for the digital map that we have. Just like about 115 individual users have kind of logged on to check and see what's going on. We're getting a lot of comments and a lot of kind of likes and kind of dialogue back and forth. So it's going well. And I suspect after this weekend, maybe more people will not only see it, but hopefully interact with it and add comments. And that's because this weekend we are putting a mobile display out at the festival. So my colleague is going to take it up tomorrow, and weather pending, it will be out each day. And then we're actually going to man the booth on Sunday. So there'll be team members there to talk to people. The mobile display has a lot of really easy activities that people can give us some quick and easy input that we'll be able to use. But our goal is to really get word out about the process itself, get people, starting to engage so we can kind of capture their information, maybe their email addresses, in hopes that we can then kind of use that to fuel and promote our larger community workshops, which we're working on identifying dates for throughout June. So that was a lot of words as kind of the work that we've been doing and are looking forward to do over the next month or so. But if anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Katie, we talked about, do you want park board assistance with running the table on Sunday? I know well, probably all four of us will be there. I presume Mike is going to be at some of Fat and Skinny.
I
but-
will be, I can't commit to working this
No,
week,
I know
though.
you can't commit to working, but I'll certainly be there probably the whole day. Troy, you going to probably be there watching?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt. So if you want some help, you just got to let us know.
Yeah, I was gonna send an email, so we were just kind of finalizing our end of like when it was gonna get there. We just put it all together. I can send maybe a separate email with kind of what it looks like and when our staff will be there. I think Sunday, I mean, you're more than welcome to come and hang out with us. But I think Sunday we'll have 2 people at least throughout the day. On like the Friday and Saturday, it's just going to be set up. So if somebody wants to kind of linger around it and talk to people, that would be great. It's designed to function on its own. But if anybody wants to kind of talk to people, maybe as they're interacting with it Friday or Saturday, that would be great because we won't be there.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're happy to have you on Sunday too. We'll have a big group.
Hey, Katie, on Friday and Saturday for that matter, we are going to locate you next to the info booth, which will be manned. So we can give
Okay.
a little bit of direction if it's not manned those first 2 days, just
Okay.
to the info, so they can point people to what they should be looking at on it and what type of feedback you want. So we can touch base probably tomorrow night at the start of things and we can make sure people are aware.
Yeah, I'll follow up after we're done here this afternoon, just with an email to give you kind of the lay of the land of what our goals are with it, just so you don't feel that you have to kind of, stand, like somebody doesn't have to stand there the whole time. We have a little instruction that I'll just send all that, and I'll put my cell phone and stuff in there in case somebody needs me. But yeah, we're excited. It came together really nicely. I'm hoping the activities, I think we have 3 or 4 different input activities on the board itself. And then it directs people to the website and the digital map. So I'm really hoping it kind of sparks a lot of interest if people were not already aware of what we're doing. We'll be able to kind of loop them in to get them involved this summer when we're out and about in the community as well.
Thank you for your update, Katie.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, I'm thinking probably before your next meeting, you'll get an email update from me as well. Like I said, we're trying to set those community workshop days throughout the month of June. So we have 4 that we're going to move around the county. We're working on looking at existing events that we know are already going on that we could potentially kind of piggyback on, similar to what we're doing this weekend. But then we also might have some alternative dates where we just want to go and set up in a logical place. So I'll send those dates to you guys to make sure you don't see any red flags with either locations or day or time. Get you to kind of sign off before we kind of publish and publicize those events.
And like we've told you before, I think we're all happy to help move that. I know just a couple weeks after Fat and Skinny is the art fair at Winona Lake, which would be a great thing to put it up again.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. So we would like it to stay up there on Sunday, after Sunday.
Okay.
If someone would like to be the home base for it, that would be amazing. That way it can become a truly mobile display. During the comp plan process, the community foundation was kind of the home base. And people were just able to pick it up from them and take it to the farmer's market or whatever they thought would be appropriate. And then they just brought it back. So I don't know if amongst yourselves there's
I'd like
a
to
great-
nominate Rob Bishop to be the local owner of that display. Are there any seconds?
I wasn't gonna say
Our
it.
garage, so I'm going to store it at Mike's house. No, I think we can do that. I don't think
Okay.
that's horrible. I hadn't thought about farmers markets. Winona Lake's got a great farmers market. There's one in downtown Warsaw. We certainly can look at all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if you guys use it well and it starts making the rounds, the boards itself are really easy to swap out. So if we use it for a couple of months, and feel like it's getting good traction and we want to continue to kind of take it out, we can refresh the information too. So that's a pretty easy thing. And we'll have additional, obviously more things related to the recommendations and the plan itself to share in the coming months. So we can consider that as well. But we would love to see it get used. We always appreciate if you can just snap some photos of it when it's out, but it's yours to move around as you're able to. So.
Perfect. We'll be happy to do that.
Okay, great.
Next
I'm
time, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody stop by and say hi on Sunday.
We definitely will. So next item, which Katie may be happier about than we just talked about, is we need to look at the invoice that Katie submitted pursuant to the contract. So Rhonda and I think Marcia has responded a couple times. Obviously, this is one of the first major bill the Parks Board has got in to be paid. And this is sort of an interesting one because it's a hybrid, as you may recall. Winona Lake was kind enough to seek permission to redirect some money that they had for this, and then the county was going to pay the rest from the ARPA balance. So talking to Craig today, they have $30,000. The entire contract was $100,000. So what I'm looking for was that probably Rhonda, I would imagine you would forward this over to Winona Lake with a recommendation that they remit $30,000 of the balance. And then I don't know who does the paperwork for the Parks Board. Would you do that for us? For the balance? Will I need to sign that then, or what's going to be our process?
If you just make a motion today that if you're approving it, we can go that.
If somebody wants to make a motion along the lines I just indicated, or if there's more questions, comments, be happy to entertain them.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the payment and move forward.
I'll second it.
Any further questions, comments? Craig, you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'll have to talk with Pete Fritz or something just to see what the process is as far as, because the grant's with Winona Lake, so I'm thinking that Winona Lake will have to pay that, and then we send that in once we get the canceled check, and then that's when we get reimbursement. It's
Okay.
a reimbursable thing, I'm pretty sure the state stuff always.
Okay.
It's just a matter of the process, and they've actually sent me blank forms,
Okay.
plan forms and stuff like that, just to make sure. I think he's had conversation, maybe with some of you, about making sure we meet the elements of the grant, or maybe they talk with.
Yeah, I know we tried to structure to make sure we had everything
Yeah,
covered.
yeah.
Okay, Katie, you're good with all that too?
I think so. Unless I missed something, do you need me to do something
No, I just want to
different?
make sure you understood that the way it looks like it's going to occur is you'll get a check from Kosciusko County and one from Winona Lake.
Okay.
Together, they make all of it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just note that in our file and let our admin person know, just so they're not alarmed or surprised. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, then there's a motion and second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. With
Thank
that,
you.
that is the last item on our agenda. Is there any further discussion from anybody?
I would just mention for the record that on May the 9th, I attended a Watershed Foundation meeting and talked with that group about our plans and solicited them for feedback. And so they're all well aware of some of the work that we're doing. And it was a good discussion. There was no major feedback at the time, but they may be reaching back out to me at a later date.
The one thing I would add is, had a meeting with Commissioner Groninger today, and he asked us to push forward with the Friends of the Park program. To that end, I have reached out to Stephanie at the foundation, asked her, okay, we're ready to go. What are my steps to get the fund set up? I have reached out to one potential donor. I did have somebody provisionally indicate they're willing to provide a four-figure donation to help kick off. So I think there is interest in being part of that independent Friends of the Park program. So I was really excited about that. But as that progresses along, I'll let everybody know where we stand. because I'm not absolutely confident I know everything I need to do with the foundation to get all this up and running, whether we need a separate 501c
Yes.
program of some sort in addition, and how that looks, so.
As Katie was talking, I thought about what something we might consider is getting some signage that's Parks and Recs, so people can start to see that brand, so they start to see some recognition. So like, maybe it would be propped up against her table or just something, so people start to say, oh, yeah, that they're.
And we've talked about even getting nameplates that say it, you know, as we're representing.
Yeah, I think getting, and we do have a small budget this year, getting some of that stuff, especially as we look at whatever the ribbon cutting is going to look like for turning dirt for the first time. We don't want to miss that opportunity, so.
I'd be happy to spearhead that. if,
That would be great if you would spearhead that. Yep.
One other item, we've tabled a couple times, I don't want to lose sight of, is the, looking to get quotes for the design and planning, taking us out to the county line. So, just, as we know, a lot of the grants are available to shovel-ready projects. So I think just getting the process started to get quotes and understand the cost of the design and planning for that, right? We'd have to find the funds for that. But then, once we have that in place, and if we are shovel-ready, I think we'd be better positioned for any grants that are out there to continue the work out to the county line.
I think we ought to work with Steve Moriarty on putting that
Okay?
proposal together. That would be my suggestion. And if you want to try to lead that, that would be great.
Yeah, I can start speaking with him about it.
Yeah.
But I just, I
know-
want to get ahead of the game. I understand, right, we have the master plan in process, and we have this current project in process. But there's additional work that Marshall County is doing out to Bourbon from Plymouth, and there's additional work I've talked to Steve about actually between Etna Green and Napanee. So I think we have some opportunity here that we want to stay ahead of.
Well, with that, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Right.
You want to come up and see this?
We don't have to second the motion to adjourn.
I second it.
They're my rules.
Recording stopped.
I'm gonna glance at that too.
There. So on that.
Go ahead and look at the plans and I'll see if I can get you an answer.
Do you have this digitally, do you have this on digital, like I can ask you to send it digitally?
Yes.
If you could do that, and we can send it
The thing is, it's 25 meg. I don't think it's gonna email. I gotta bring a thumb drive. I'll try.
stuff, but
Let me,
I can copy it and give one to Eric.
Hey, Rob, that claim was 100,000 with Winona paying 30 of it, right? Okay. I wanted to make sure I read this.
And that's the total cost.